News UK, Kevin Schofield, and Martina Beck, political correspondent at The Sun. So very good morning to both of you.
Morning to both of you. Thanks for coming in.
Perhaps, as you might imagine, after this release of 3 million documents in the Epstein files on Friday night, the paper's still dominated by some of those details that have emerged in the files. You want to kick us off, Martina, with the Sunday Telegraph?
That's right. And the Sunday Telegraph and I think the Sunday Times pick up what the PM said yesterday, where he basically suggests that Andrew has a duty towards the victims of Jeffrey Epstein to come up and give evidence to the authorities, because so far he hasn't done so. He's refused to do so. He also insisted that references to the victims had to be pulled out after that Newsnight interview that he did a few years back. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Andrew to do something right now after all of these documents. You know, it was featured very heavily, as you mentioned, as the pictures of him. Obviously, he denies any wrongdoing, but, you know, it does leave a bit of a stain on the royal family, and I think King Charles probably feels a bit vindicated of what he did a few months back when he stripped him of all royal titles.
Well, just those calls for him to testify before Congress, he can't be compelled to do that as a British citizen, can he? So
no, that's it. I mean, the PM can say this all he likes, really, but there's nothing actual tangible that he can do to make Andrew testify or cooperate with American authorities. But again, as Martina says, it is hugely embarrassing, I think, for the royal family, even though he is technically no longer.
Do you think that's right? Do you think
it
adds, given the fact that Charles has acted and he's been stripped of his titles, he's had to move out of his house, do you think that this having more suggestions, or his presence in these files at least, adds pressure further on Charles?
Yeah, I mean, he's still his brother, and he's still, everyone knows he was Prince Andrew. Yeah, I don't think people are going to look at it and say, oh, well, this has got nothing at all to do with the royal family because he's no longer in the royal family. He's still in the public consciousness, I think, deeply associated with the royals. I mean, I think it shows why it was so necessary for him to be ostracised in such a way, because, I mean, do we think that this is the last of it? Probably not. There may well be other allegations will come out further down the line. It's just a constant drip, 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 and yeah, embarrassing for the royal.
Yeah, and the nature in which the files are released does mean it's a drip, 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 doesn't it? Because you've got journalists
the work has to be done to go through them,
sifting through all of this.
You know, whether King Charles knew that more was going to come out, and that's why he decided to do so. You know, that's a different question. But he can, as I said, you know, with this preemptive strike that he did a couple of months ago, he can definitely feel vindicated that that was the right thing to do. And the statement where he said, you know, that Andrew has shown a serious lapse of judgment. I mean, I think it's fair to say that he showed a complete lack of judgment. But we'll see what more comes up with these files.
Indeed.
Let's move on to another story, shall we, on the front of the Sunday Telegraph. And the headline is, US fears Chinese spy boats will take advantage of the Chagos deal.
That's right. So the Chagos deal is the UK government has decided to hand over the British territory to Mauritius, which is an ally of China. We taxpayers are paying $35 billion, and in return we've got a 100 years lease on this key US-UK base on one of the islands on Diego Garcia. Now, at the time when it was announced, Donald Trump was quite happy with it. But a few weeks ago, he said that actually he's not, that it's a great act of stupidity to give away Chagos Islands. And he was asked about it, and it didn't seem like he knew a lot about the deal, or that he was across the detail.
You surprised me.
Yeah, and now what's happened is that the House of Lords has got a bill about the Chagos deal that they need to ratify it, and last week the government decided to pull the bill. Now, the reason why they did so was because of parliamentary procedure, because the Tory peers had put down an amendment. But actually, I think the reason why they've done so is to give a bit of breathing space so that the UK diplomats, you know, can engage with the US and really make sure they are on side.
Yeah. So, I mean, on this reporting, the government say that there are robust security provisions in place to prevent any issues with the base. But can we just talk to us about the politics of all of this? Because as Martina says, the president was behind it when it was first. Talk to us about how the Chagos agreement was done anyway. It wasn't this government that started the process, was it?
No, so the Conservatives, under James Cleverly, who was Foreign Secretary at the time, made the first moves because there have been challenges in the international courts over the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands. Now, the government argues that this was a necessary agreement and a handover because it would just have been constant legal challenges and the government was losing, so this deals with it. And as Martina said, there's this 100-year lease to protect the Diego Garcia base. And America, you have to get America on side because it's a joint base, obviously. And the statement is there. It's still up on the US State Department website. Marco Rubio saying this is a good deal for the US and the UK security. And then, yeah, lo and behold, unexpectedly, Donald Trump changes his mind. But yeah, I mean, if for whatever reason, because it's not been ratified yet, you know, it's not an absolute done deal. If it ended up that America pulls its support and Britain has to relent on this, it would be hugely embarrassing.
Yeah, especially when the Tories have been pushing hard against this deal, haven't they?
It would be the 15th U-turn.
Yeah, at least.
Absolutely.
This would probably be the biggest one.
There might have been one before they get to do this. Let's not say 15 just yet. But it would be a huge moment, wouldn't it? And is that likely? I mean, you guys know. Is it likely that the US could withdraw support and it has to go all the way back
Who knows what
down?
Donald Trump will do? Right. I think
They seem pretty determined at the moment, certainly. I mean, what he said last week about great stupidity. And also, you've got to remember, Keir Starmer has bent over backwards to keep in with Donald Trump. So it'd be a massive rupture in the relationship as well, where America turn around and say, actually, you know what?
Although maybe his visit to China has irritated a little bit. He made a few comments about that, didn't he? And also Canada's relationship with China.
Even though he's gone to China in April.
Yes, absolutely.
There we go.
Let's move on to a story inside the Times and Sunday Times. Kevin, you picked this out. This is about student loans.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, a scandal in the making. I think people are now just getting their heads around the fact that the students are really being ripped off, effectively, and taking out these massive loans. They've got no option if they go to university but to take out these loans unless they're incredibly wealthy. And yet, when they do everything right, they start paying it back. The actual loan, the amount that they owe, just is going up and up and up because of the huge interest rate. And also the government froze the repayment threshold. So that was meant to go up with inflation, but they froze it, so obviously that drags more people into paying.
It's that fiscal drag again, isn't it?
Fiscal drag again, exactly. But Rachel Reeves, in a bizarre intervention, was asked about it, and she's saying, oh, this is all very fair. And anyway, we need to be putting more money into the NHS anyway. And, you know, this is the first time
Eyebrows
that I
raised.
know that the government has tried to link the interest that students are having to repay with the NHS.
When I first read the headline, I thought, what is it, graduate doctors? Is it people that work within the NHS?
Yeah,
But no,
I think she's made a real gaffe there, actually. You know, she's come from absolutely nowhere. And then why should students who are already paying for the NHS through their general taxation be taxed on it twice, be paying twice for it?
And students, the average student, it says here, their debt is 45,600. I mean,
underline that as well.
Yeah,
it's extraordinary amount of money.
And it's extraordinary, and it's something that I think lots of graduates didn't really know, something that they're waking up to now, in the sense that, you know, it's something that obviously gets taken out of your payslip. But then when you look into it, maybe after like 5 years of working, I think lots of graduates probably thought, OK, maybe I've repaid a good chunk of my student loan, not realising that the interest is so high
It goes up.
it's actually going up. And I think with now lots of you know, Labour MPs or MPs that have got these loans, the issue is being brought back to light. And something interesting that Labour MPs are saying now is that lots of young people might be more interested in voting for reform if the Labour government has got no issue. But, you know, they think that actually it's a good thing to say, oh, well, graduates are helping NHS waiting lists going down with these loans.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and
I think you're right. It's definitely going to be one that sort of gathers pace. I saw lots of discussion about this on my social media over the past sort of week, talking about the student loans.
I think it's just come into sharp focus now.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those issues, and then comments like this one certainly doesn't help as far as the government's concerned.
Yeah, and young people feeling that they've got their student loans, they feel it's impossible to get on the housing ladder.
And they look at pensioners with a triple lock, and you think, well, hang on a minute, we're being, you know, stitched up here, really.
Yeah, especially when all the generations
contracts.
didn't have to pay £9,000 to go to university.
Exactly.
You know? So,
Right, that's going to be one that's going to come back. We'll keep a close eye on that one. Right, let's move on to this on the front of the Mail. And this is about Angela Rayner, is it? Formerly Deputy Prime Minister, who has now got a £1 million war chest to mail report. Take us through the reporting of this. What are we making of it?
That's right. So obviously with Andy Burnham being blocked last Sunday, now the attention is on the other viable possible candidate to challenge Keir Starmer. That's Angela Rayner. And the Mail on Sunday focused on the fact that she's secured a war chest of more than £1 million to secure her bid to succeed Keir Starmer. She's registered. She set up a new company called the Office of Angela Rayner to conduct her business, and basically they're suggesting that this is all money that she's got stashed there for when the moment comes. But actually, what's quite interesting, and I think it was reported earlier this week, that she's been speaking. She's done lots of speaking engagements recently, especially with the new intake of 2024 Labour MPs at receptions. So she's been at fundraising dinners, and earlier this week she basically told supporters she was not dead yet. And her allies say, yeah, she's got way more than 80 MPs, which is the threshold that they would need to challenge Keir Starmer. And basically, she's there waiting until possibly the May elections, when we expect Labour to do really bad in the polls, and Keir Starmer to possibly face a leadership challenge.
And I guess, Kevin, it's not big news that Angela Rayner might be interested in the leadership job. I think most people would expect that. But what are her chances? I mean, she's obviously got some MPs backing, but given the fact that she did have to step down, does that put her at a disadvantage?
Potentially, yeah. Now, there's still a HMRC investigation. That's still going, so that hasn't reported back. Now, were that to come back and find that she had not so much maybe broken the law, but certainly was guilty of not doing what she should have done, then I think that would be really damaging for her. However, if she's cleared, then that absolutely
opens the way. I mean,
for
we should remind people it was about paying the wrong amount of stamp duty when she bought a house, wasn't it?
That's
And
right.
there was a complicated deal over a previous one because of
it was
an arrangement to
yeah,
protect
but it was all
her
to do with that flat that she bought in Brighton.
Yeah,
And just looking at
it was an honourable
her public polling as well. Her public polling is really quite low, like net favourability ratings of like around 19%. She's not seemingly with the public popular, because I think people are still making up their minds.
There's that, and she's also, her seat is under threat as well, her constituency, so that is another complicating factor. But certainly, Andy Burnham not being around certainly does clear the way for her. She sort of is on the soft left of the Labour Party, who would maybe go up against someone on the right, like West Streeting.
We haven't got a huge amount of time, so let's just one more question on this. What's the general feeling? Is it inevitable? People feel that there'll be some kind of leadership challenge?
I think speaking to Labour MPs, it's inevitable. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how.
Wow. Right, because
what's
someone's
your
looking over his shoulder.
Post-May elections.
Post-May.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's
I mean, if it's really,
bloodbath.
really bad, it's going to be hard for him, I think. Very hard.
Very interesting stuff.
Okay.
All right, we'll do that one next. Kevin, thanks, both. Thank you guys for being with us. Stay with us, back with your headlines in a couple of minutes.
What's the best thing about being a Sky News journalist?